joining us on the Arise News Hour to talk about the wider implications of the deal and those still lingering doubts about it is Danae Kyriakopoulou from the Official Monetary and Financial Institutions Forum, also known as OMFIF. Thank you very much indeed for coming in. So now that the ink has finally been put to that paper, concentrate our minds on the economic benefits of this mammoth deal.
Around 10% of EU jobs depend on trade, either directly or indirectly through supply chain effects. Now, if we look at the economic performance of Europe in recent years, it hasn't exactly been spectacular. And even today, if we exclude Ireland and perhaps Spain, most big economies are growing at a fairly anemic pace. Growth isn't going to come from domestic demand. There is still a lot of pressure on banks, on lending. So trade is a very important vehicle for growth. And any deal that puts export-led growth on the table for the future of European economies is welcome. Now, the Canada-EU deal is perhaps the most comprehensive and ambitious deal that the EU has negotiated to date. It covers a lot in terms of goods trade. It goes a long way to remove tariffs, but more importantly, it also covers non-tariff barriers, notably the controversial investor-state dispute settlement, but also procurement, which is very important for European companies. They are allowed now to bid for public projects in levels of Canadian government.
Now, this sounds like a very big and broad deal. I mean, you talk about it covers investment, goods, services, all that. Is that kind of deal just too large and ambitious for the sort of environment we find ourselves in today? I mean, could this be the last of its kind?
There's certainly less support now for global trade than it was before. That's a trend that we're seeing all across the world. Brexit is a notable example of that. I think there are more deals of its kind on the pipeline, notably the Transatlantic Trade and Investment Partnership, TTIP, between the EU and the US. The way the EU-Canada deal was negotiated sets a dangerous precedent because there was a lot of opposition. And the way it was negotiated, because it was classified as a mixed agreement covering both services and investment, meant that it had to pass through regional parliaments as well as
hence the problems
Commission.
You had in Belgium and so on. Now, but are there lessons in this for Brexit? I mean, is the Canada deal likely to be the closest thing that the UK might seek and can hope for if it quits the common market?
This deal allows Canada to have greater access to the EU market without contributions to the EU budget and without having to subscribe to the EU's rules on freedom of movement of labour. So in that sense, it is close to what Britain wants to achieve. But it doesn't go as far in terms of services trade, and that's where Britain really excels. That's where its comparative advantage lies. And in order for such a deal to pass, because it would be a mixed agreement, it would have to pass through regional parliaments. And we saw how dangerous that can be, that they can face opposition. And in a way, it is an argument against Brexit itself, because it shows that small regions do have a voice in Europe. It's not that Brussels has the last word on everything. But it does raise risks in terms of a future deal between the UK and the EU.
Okay, Danae Kyriakopoulou from the Official Monetary and Financial Institutions Forum, also known as OMFIF. Thank you very much indeed.